Thank you, Speaker. Access to life-saving prescription medication should not depend on your age, income, or employment status. Canadians want medications to be covered. Canada is the only high-income country with universal health care that does not have a fully funded Pharmacare program. We pay for doctor's visits, emergency department visits, hospital stays, MRIs, blood work, and other tests, but not for the medication that healthcare providers prescribe to people to stay healthy. Expanding access to the Ontario drug benefit is one way this government could act today to support Ontarians and increase the resiliency of our economy and of our province. Pharmacare would have a real impact on real people, and I have real stories from my community. Constituent 1 is a senior on a fixed income and a lifelong user of a particular diabetic medication that worked, but they were switched over to another medication which didn't work nearly as well, had to jump through hoops to get approval to go back on the effective medication. Constituent 2 retired at 62 and no longer had access to work health benefits, and he thought that this was no big deal, that he was healthy enough and could wait until he became eligible for the provincial benefits at 65. And he was fine until he wasn't and was diagnosed with cancer. And 2 weeks of blood thinner injections, just one of his many prescriptions, cost $1,200. He was able to apply for and receive Trillium benefits, but had to pay out of pocket until then. So he was awfully glad that he had had enough money to cover his costs until he got Trillium, but many can't. Constituent 3 was a recent university graduate who was no longer on her parents' benefits plan and who at 24 never expected to have cancer. And her out-of-pocket drug costs would have been $25,000, but fortunately her workplace was unionized, so she had benefits. She would not have had the funds to cover her drugs and did not have time to delay that treatment to wait for Trillium. She's still with us today. Constituent 4's mom is a senior citizen in Northern Ontario, lives on a fixed income with no workplace pension. She has a condition that causes her iron levels to drop to dangerously low levels, and for a while was having to go to the emergency room every 4 to 6 weeks, spending between 3 to 5 days at a time in a hallway while receiving her iron infusions. So my constituent found out that her mom could be prescribed a medication that would prevent this, a once-a-month injection that costs around $800, but her mom can't afford that on her fixed income. And so my constituent and her brother split the cost between them to cover it. So mom is stable. And constituent 5 was employed for a long time and had a good-paying job with benefits in the automotive sector until the workplace closed down and the benefits went with it. And the cost of purchasing private insurance was prohibitive, so she prayed. She prayed to be healthy enough until she got old enough to qualify for provincial benefits at age 65. She had been prescribed Crestor for over 2 decades, and she had to make the choice of paying for the medication herself or come off of it and take her chances with possible heart disease. Well, she took herself off the medication and did all the things she could to stay healthy. After 6 months, she went to see her family doctor for her regular blood work. Lucky woman had a family doctor. The blood test results were not good. She went back on Crestor, grateful that she was able to afford it by making other cuts to her household budget. This is a medication that's necessary, with harsh consequences if not taken as prescribed. An expanded eligibility of the Ontario drug benefit would help this constituent and no doubt many others like her. We know that for many real people outside of this legislature, prescriptions come with impossible choices to ration or skip doses of their medication because their budget won't allow them to take it every day. For others, they may never be able to fill the prescription and access the medicines that they need. And we can't afford to let Ontarians become ill and suffer health complications when we could prevent it by providing access to the medications they need. We can achieve this by immediately expanding the eligibility for the Ontario drug benefit to include all Ontarians, regardless of age or income status, and we could do that today. Thank you, Speaker.